But Brandon, let's end the podcast like we always do, making our picks. Well, ending the normal podcast this week. We got a bonus podcast.
Yeah, we do.
The Coaching Carousel podcast.
Yeah, we do.
As it's the college version of Black Monday. Black Monday in the NFL being when all the coaches get fired. But we're running through not all the games this week. However, not all the games are top 25. We're going to go top 25 / conference championships, as it is champ week this week in college football. I almost said in the NFL. That would have been completely wrong. But first game we're looking at, Friday night action in the Pac-12. We got Stanford. We got USC. Who do you got? The Trojans, 3-point favorites.
I'm going to go with USC. And in this one, I think that they know that they still have a fighting chance. Because of that, they're going to play hard. They're going to get the win in this game.
This one could be interesting. Stanford losing to the Trojans early on this year, getting a big win against the Irish, a team that the Trojans could not beat. However, I picked them to win the championship. I'm not going to back off now. Said they were going to win the Pac-12, and I'm going with the Trojans to beat Stanford. However, I wouldn't be surprised if an upset happened or if the Trojans won closely. But moving on, Saturday action now. We've got the American Athletic Conference Championship. We've got 20 Memphis. We've got 15 UCF, undefeated UCF. No line for this one on Monday, so it's a straight pick 'em. I am going with the favorite here. I can't go against Frost and the Golden Knights.
Well, I'm going to go with UCF, too. They have not lost all season long. They've been rolling, and for a team that's not going to make the playoff, at least they can say they had an undefeated season.
Moving on, we've got, as Sean would like to say, we got some action going on Saturday. We've got 7-5 Akron. We've got 10-2 Toledo in the MAC Championship by Vizio. They're not sponsoring this podcast, just sponsoring the game. And it's Toledo, 21.5-point favorites. I'm going with the Rockets. I got to go with the favorite. Are you going to go with the Zips? Going to hit that button?
I'm going to go with Toledo. I know absolutely nothing about what they've done this season, but I'm going to go with Toledo.
Apparently a zip is a kangaroo, according to the logo of Akron. A zip is a logo. So,
nice.
Fun fact you learned today. But then we move on to a game that Brandon will not care about even more. We have the USA Football Championship. We've got North Texas. We've got Florida Atlantic. Lane Kiffin and the boys, 10.5-point favorites. I ain't going to pick against Lane, going with the Owls from Florida Atlantic.
I'm going to go with Lane Kiffin in this one. He's
8-0 in conference.
He's a good offensive mind, always has been, and for that, he's going to find a way to get a win.
And then we move on. Should we pick the, before we go, we should pick the Louisiana-Monroe Florida State game, right?
We've got to.
The makeup game that they're making up, but we'll move on. Big 12 action, Power 5 action now. We've got number 12 TCU. We've got number 4 Oklahoma. This game being played in Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. The Sooners, 7-point favorites. Brandon, who you got?
This is a huge game. This is one of so many big games that we have coming up this weekend. This game truly is going to help decide a lot of other things. Mm-hmm. If TCU wins, watch out. Because then TCU will have 2 losses. Oklahoma will have 2 losses. They'll both be 11-2. Craziness ensues. Oklahoma got the win the first time. TCU, I said TCU's going to win because they've got the better defense. And I'm picking the team in this one who has the better defense, and it's Oklahoma. No chaos ensues after this game. Oklahoma gets the win.
Some would say, or my mom would say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Going with TCU yet again with the upset. I got to go with it. And a big thank you for Charles Barkley, although he missed out and didn't give us credit for it, the upset special, picking the Kentucky Wildcats to beat Louisville. But Charles, we know you're watching the show. Thank you guys for the upset special, and thank you for Tyler. Tyler was the man on Twitter that's like, hey, Charles listens to the podcast, just said upset special on College Game Day. But yeah, I'm going with TCU over Oklahoma might bite me in the butt, but I like chaos whenever we can get it.
And you like things that bite you in the butt.
That too. Then we'll move on into number 7, Georgia, number 6, Auburn at this point on Monday. Auburn is a 2.5-point favorite. I am going to go with the Tigers. I think they are the better team. They've gotten Georgia before. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia wins in Atlanta, Georgia, where the Falcons play. Who you got, B?
Ricky, a couple of weeks ago, I sat here on this podcast and I said,
You going streaking?
No freaking way.
I know who you're rooting for.
That Auburn is going to beat number 1 at the time, Georgia. Then they would go and beat number 1 at the time, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd be in the SEC title game.
And beat
You're
Georgia.
Freaking nuts. That's not going to happen. So what is happening? They're in the fucking title game. They beat Georgia. They beat Alabama. And here they are again trying to beat Georgia. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to beat Georgia. And I'm going streaking, baby.
Are we going to do it Will Ferrell style where it's like, yeah, we're going streak and just have you run through the local town?
I might as well.
We've got to plan that. So any ideas that you guys may have down below, we won't necessarily have to use them. It's all at Brandon's discretion because he will be butt naked maybe.
But Auburn, I'm telling you, this team is the best team in the country.
They made Brandon a believer. Naked or not, they made Brandon a believer.
I don't think it's necessarily that I wasn't a believer in the sense that they were a good football team, but I didn't fully believe that they could be the team. Because how many times have we seen that? None.
Here's a more important question I think everyone watching and listening wants to know. Before you go streaking, are you going to tan beforehand? Will you go to the tanner or will you go self-tan Donald Trump style to look like a carrot?
I would have to ask Donald Trump where he gets his spray. Maybe just put on a little bit of the hair too. I may look
like the legs; they don't look all pasty white because it is getting winter right now. Sun's going away.
Now thinking about it, if I went streaking as Donald Trump, I may have bullets flying at me.
You may.
I may. You may. So I may not then go looking like him.
Next game we've got, it's not a Power 5. It's the Mountain West Championship. This is, I believe, a rematch of a game that just happened. We've got Fresno State. We've got Boise State. I am going with the Broncos, who are 8.5-point favorites. Brandon, who you got?
I'm going with Boise State. They were supposed to beat Washington State earlier in the season, and they had them. And I had picked Boise State to win that game. As an upset, I felt all confident. This is going to be good. Like the first upset special of the year, blah, blah, blah. Brandon's going to be looking good in this one. They screwed me. So I'm going to take them again, though, here. And they're going to get the win against Fresno State.
And this is a rematch. These two teams did play this past week. Fresno State getting the win. So both of us are going against Fresno winning twice in a row. And we're going to go with Boise State beating the Bulldogs and Derek Carr's old team. Then the final two games, we've got Power 5 action in the ACC and the Big Ten. We got the Dr. Pepper ACC Championship game. We've got Miami. We've got Clemson. Now, here's the thing. We're going with the line, right? That's where our upset special comes from, not the ranking.
The line. The line is, I think, what we've done.
Clemson is 9.5. Clemson fans hate me already. I'm going with Miami. I've got to throw up the U. And Miami going to the playoff, they will beat the Clemson Tigers. Who you got?
Well, we're looking at just an absolutely great matchup.
This will be the best game of the week.
I think I've said that about. I think I've said that about every game that's come up so far in the Power 5. Miami is that team that has been sneaky all season long in terms of they find ways to win. They find ways to win. They find ways to win at the end.
Except when Rozier is so inaccurate. How is he so inaccurate against Pitt? I don't even know.
Bad. But Clemson.
Bad.
It's kind of like sad, period. Clemson's been that team that's been quiet. They were under the radar. Lost to Syracuse, came above the radar. They didn't like that too much. So they went back below the radar, just did their thing.
It's exactly like their fans have told us. Doubt us, we'll prove you wrong.
Exactly. Or F you. We've also got that too. But in this game, this is another game. You win, you're in. Everyone said it. I say it too. And this is such a crucial game that the team I have to go with is the team that will make you continue to hate me. I love you.
Oh,
Bye-bye, Clemson. See you next year.
They are going to hate us so much. I know we're going to get tweets and comments from Andrew particularly that, like, doubt us again. Could you imagine what, like, this is what I'm imagining right now. The tweet we are going to get Sunday night if Clemson wins.
And I had to hit it for the
yes. The tweet we will get from Andrew if Clemson wins.
Not just the tweet that we'll get from him, the hate that we'll get on here. You dumb assholes, blah, 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 blah. Guys,
if I'm wrong in a pick, call me out for it because I must have been dumb if I was wrong.
Guys, we're not saying that we know it all on here. And by us picking against your team doesn't mean that we think your team is the worst. I don't think Clemson, I don't think Clemson is the worst, guys. I just don't think they're the best.
Let's move on. Last game. We've got the Big Ten. We've got Ohio State number 9. They are actually the favorite in this one. 6-point favorites over Wisconsin. I'm going with the Buckeyes. No need to pick an upset special here. Who you got?
Wisconsin.
Really?
Just throw a monkey wrench into all of it. Wisconsin, they're right there. They're that team that, if you look at them, 12-0, no one is believing in them outside of their own fans. No one believes in Wisconsin.
Besides Badger Country, nobody.
They haven't been able to do it in a while. And I said that during the Wisconsin segment, is that they get no love on their side of the conference. It's all either Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, Michigan. It's all them. And that Wisconsin, they'll get to the title game, but they're never going to win it because the team on the other side is just going to be that much better. Well, guess what? Wisconsin is sick and freaking tired of it. They're going to come to this game. They're going to be playing big time because they know, for the most part, most likely, if they win, they beat Ohio State. Ohio State's gone, and they're in.
The one thing I want to say here at the end before I wrap the podcast up is I've got a question for you guys listening and watching. Is what Brandon and I are going to do is we're going to do a Bowl Mania this year where Brandon will have his own, I will have my own. We'll have an open group on ESPN so that you guys can come in and join us. We'll have the winner win something, maybe like a gift card to something, maybe B-dubs or like some food place.
If it's a Clemson fan, maybe just a night to berate us.
Here's the question.
Oh, wait, you do that already.
Here's the question I want to ask you guys, because if we're going to do this, I want to get your input on this, and of course I'll get Brandon's input as well. But the way you can do the Bowl Mania is one of two ways. You can do it as a straight pick, or you can do it as like confidence pick, where it's like, I'm really confident in this pick, I'm going to put it at 50 points. I'm going to put this one at 49. I'm not confident in this one, I'm going to put it at 11. So I want to ask you guys, because we want to take your thoughts and your consideration into it, which would you prefer? Would you prefer just straight pick, win or lose, or would you prefer the confidence pick? Let us know that down in the comment section. But
or
also,
what we should do is we should make a poll on Twitter, and you should go and vote on the poll. I think that would be easier too. Make a comment down here, but we'll also do a poll on Twitter.
We could do that as well. We'll do that. We'll make a poll on Twitter.
We'll do both
as well. It might not be up exactly as I'm recording this, and you're not going to hear this exactly as I'm recording this, but it will be on Twitter. If it's not on Twitter, let us know down below just what kind of pick you'd want. But thank you guys for either watching on YouTube or listening on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, if you're on Stitcher. Thank you guys for giving us your time. We've got a second podcast for you. We got the Coaching Carousel podcast. Make sure to check that one out as well. Want to thank you guys for watching and or listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody.